Okay, so I'd like to welcome to the stage now Dave Evans for the Internet of Everything for Social Good. So Dave is the chief futurist at Cisco, and he joined Cisco in 1990 and deployed the first ever web server, right? And has basically done every single job in technology since then. And for those who don't know Dave's work, whenever he makes predictions on the internet, it's the most downloaded content ever. And I think part of that is because he realizes while technology moves in an exponential way, we as humans think in a linear way. And so we're always behind it. But looking forward to what you have to predict for us today.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to spend a few minutes this afternoon talking about a technology, and a collection of technologies specifically, and that's the Internet of Everything and how it's poised to change our world forever for the good. Before I get into the presentation, let's roll a video that illustrates IOE. All right. As a futurist, you can imagine people often ask me, so Dave, what's the next big thing? I just showed you what the next big thing was. This set of capabilities is going to change the world in very profound ways over the next few decades. This is the next big thing. Now, as a futurist, I'm actually also an eternal optimist, but I'm also a realist. So let's look at where we are today. Let's take stock at the world as it lies today. We live in some challenging times. No surprise, that's what this session's all about. As a society, as a species, we're growing at an exponential rate. In the span of 100 years, we will have added 7 billion people to our population. It's about 7.5 billion people today. We're growing at a pretty amazing rate. And we're going to start living a lot longer. The human lifespan has already doubled in the last 150 years alone, and in the next 5 decades, it will double yet again. A child born today will conservatively live to be 200 to 300 years old. That's kind of the pace that we're on. People are going to start living much, much longer. Many of us are moving into cities. 200 years ago, about 3% of the population lived in cities. Today, it's over 50%. In the next few decades, it will be 70%. And this will place tremendous stress on those cities, resources, and utilization of those cities. And from a food perspective, we waste a tremendous amount of food. Globally, we throw away about a third of all the the food that we produce for humans. In the US, it's actually much worse. In the US, it's about 40%. So imagine if you took your monthly food budget and you said, 40% of it, I'll just throw it away. That's essentially what we're doing with food production. The same is true with water. Water today, we waste or lose about 30% of water globally because of leaky pipes. It's lost and can't be used for food or agriculture. More than 1 billion people lack access to healthcare services today. 1 out of 7 people have no access at all to healthcare. And in some industries, for example, in healthcare, that gap is widening. As the population grows, 1 billion people in the last decade, another 1 billion in the next decade, we're not keeping up to pace with certain industries. So for example, in healthcare, there's not enough medical doctors graduating medical school relative to the population growth. And people are getting older, people are retiring. Within the next decade, it's expected that 1/3 of all physicians will retire, so that gap is going to continue to increase. And there are environmental considerations, acidification of the oceans, climate change, other major climate considerations. Social challenges are about to grow on a scale that we as a species have never seen. Things are growing at an exponential rate. We're going to be significantly challenged over the next few decades to deal with some of the challenges I've talked about. But the good news is the opportunities have never been greater. As we connect our world, as we sense our world in new ways, as we share, as we provide data analytics on top of all the sensing that we're receiving, the opportunities to act and change have never been greater. As you saw in the video, we're connecting things at a pretty incredible rate. As of today, it's about 10 billion things connected to the network, and over the course of the next decade, that thing will grow to 50 billion. That's about 7 things for every person on the planet within the next decade. And these things, many of them sense and communicate, and it gives us an unprecedented ability to sense our world and to take action as a result. How we as humans connect is going to change radically over the next few years. Whether it's the glasses that we wear and ultimately the contact lenses that we wear, whether it's the devices that monitor our health and our activity, even the clothes that we wear or the pills that we swallow. Already there are companies that are connecting the pills to the internet. So as you swallow the pill, the stomach acid in your body activates the pill and communicates through your smartphone to your physician that you've taken the pill. So how we connect to the network is going to change radically. The network will be on us, around us, even in us in the coming years. And of course, everyday things will be connected. Our cars will be connected. Our infrastructure will be connected. Our buildings, our homes, billions upon billions of things will get connected. And these cities will become living, breathing organisms. They'll become smart and adapt to the situations that they're under. Cities will become smarter. And things that we didn't previously imagine that would get connected are getting connected. So for example, our livestock is getting connected. Each one of these cows generates 200 megabytes of information per year. Cows now tweet when a birth is impending for a calf. So how we connect and manage our resources is going to change quite differently in the coming years. Sensors in fields will make sure that we don't overwater or underwater, use the right amount of fertilizer and pesticides, and so on and so forth. So the things that we did not previously expect to be connected are getting connected at record rates. How we utilize and manage energy is changing. Homes are getting smart, buildings are getting smart. Smart meters will talk to the energy grid. The energy grid itself will become smart and manage energy in a lot more efficient ways. And that street lighting that you see out on the streets is becoming intelligent. It's being connected. We're adding sensors to it. It's turning into entertainment, communication, environmental monitoring services. So even the street lighting itself will become part of this intelligent information infrastructure. And our cars, there's about 1 billion cars on the road today. There'll be about 4 billion cars by mid-century. They're all getting connected. Within about a decade, we'll say about 500 million cars connected to the internet, and which will make driving safer, greener, and more efficient. So no longer will you drive around, for example, Stanford campus looking for a parking spot. The parking spot will tell your car which spots are available. And connecting devices will bring healthcare to where there is none today. This is an interesting device. This is called the Scanadu Scout. And this is a device that will come out early next year. It's about half the size of a smartphone. You hold it to your temple, and within about 10 seconds, it will measure your blood pressure, your heart rate, oxygen level, systolic, diastolic, blood pressure, and so on. And then if necessary, can communicate that to your physician or update your electronic health record. This is the power of an emergency room in a $200 device that will be available to everyone early next year. And things with embedded sensors will monitor your health. Companies like Fujitsu are embedding cameras and sensors into mirrors. So in the morning when you get up and you brush your teeth, that mirror may be doing a quick medical checkup. It may check your blood pressure and your heart rate and pupil dilation and skin temperature and so on to make sure that you stay healthy. So everyday objects are getting connected to the network in record rates. And even the ability to monitor things that previously we couldn't monitor. Already electronic tattoos are emerging, and in the next few years you might put an electronic tattoo on the belly of a pregnant lady and monitor the fetal signs of that child as it develops. So the Internet of Everything will amplify existing caregivers' abilities. It doesn't replace them. It lets them do what they do better, and it brings healthcare and education and services to people where today there is none. And it will provide visibility into those precious resources that I talked about. Gone are the days of losing 30% of our water due to leaky pipes. Intelligent sensors on the pipes will notify us and make sure that water is safe to drink and is not lost in transit. And does a drop of water really matter? I did this calculation to show how significant this problem is. If just 1% of the homes in the US saved 1 drip per minute, which seems really insignificant, that's 35 million gallons of water per year. That's enough to grow 100 acres of corn. 1 drip out of 1 leaky faucet. Now think about that on a global scale, the billions upon trillions of gallons that we're losing. This is significant. And then food sensors will place on food, and the sensors will let us know whether or not the food is safe to eat, and will let us know if the food's about ready to go bad, and will help us reduce waste and save money. So our ability to sense our world, to understand and act, has never been greater. And consider that less than 1% of our world is currently connected to the internet. 99.4% of our world is still unconnected. And you can start to see some of the profound changes we're already having. So while the Internet of Everything is not a silver bullet that's going to solve all the world's problems, it's an amazing tool and an amazing set of capabilities that we've never had before that can help us bring healthcare and education to those that have none and help us manage the precious resources that we're squandering today. So with that, thank you very much.